The following announcement is paid for by the Wrestling with Nerds.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
The name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. I don't know why, but you are.
This honky-tonk man, greatest intercontinental champion of all time, and you're watching Wrestling with Nerds podcast. Yes, that's my favorite. Shake, rattle, and roll.
What's going on, wrestling nerds, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. We're talking about November 1997 Monday Night Raw versus WCW Monday Night Nitro. Once again, hi, I'm AJ. You see TJ over there with the big bloodline hat. Monday Night
Hello.
Raw.
Oh, God.
I hear myself.
Yeah, you'll have that on these big jobs.
And then the wrestling guru himself, Ryan Fry.
Stop.
That apparently didn't like his camera angle because now we're looking down at him.
Hey, just for this past week, I got this for us.
Why?
Happy Veterans Day.
Oh, okay. Real American. Got it. That makes more sense than...
Oh, I agree, AJ. This is far better.
Wait, really? Are we sure that this one's not goated?
That's a really good Patriot entrance theme.
Yeah. yes, it is. And I haven't seen him in a while.
I still think
I
American males is better than all of them.
I told you he doesn't last long. I think he's already gone.
Oh, well, I think you might be right with that because I haven't seen him in a while. At least the full month of November, I haven't seen him. But let's go into some present day stuff real quick. They're getting together. Do we want to speculate who that fifth man is going to be? Because I'm more and more thinking Ryan's bleeping right, and it's bothering me that Ryan called this 8 months ago. We need a fifth man. Who's going to be the fifth man? It's going to be The Rock.
All I keep seeing is everybody's like, oh my God, Sammy's going to turn on Roman because he threw his phone on the couch before he went out for a fight. I don't know about anybody else, but I wouldn't want to break my phone in a fight, so I'm going to throw it on the couch too.
I mean, that makes sense.
Oh my God.
But no, the fifth guy, Ryan, you've been saying it for months in War Games. It's going to be The Rock.
Yeah.
It's Seth Rollins. It's Seth Rollins.
No, it's going to be Dean.
No, it's Seth Rollins. They just put Bronson Reed on that team for a reason. Pay attention, AJ. They have told you a week before every member of this OG bloodline has rejoined who was rejoining.
Wouldn't it be cool if it's just because he's like from New Zealand and kind of almost Samoan that he just joins the bloodline because he's a new distant cousin, guys. Don't you know this?
He's the Samoan that's not Samoan.
Would it not be interesting though if you know Roman's on the phone and can't get a hold of Paul, which we've seen the videos where it's like, oh, remember Solo stepped on Paul's phone and he had to get a new phone. Are we stupid? Because he got a new phone doesn't mean he gets a new phone number. But wouldn't it be funny if he couldn't get a hold of him because he was out of the country? Maybe up north? Maybe on a farm?
In Canada?
Maybe with a big giant acreage farm with a big giant guy that tends to do his own butchering,
I'm happy
kill
you
his
continued
own
with that because
animals.
I had no clue who you're referring to.
I
A
mean,
certain beast that would be able to take out
yeah,
the
would that
beast
be
Bronson
cool?
Reed?
That would
What-
be pretty cool.
That would be really cool, but I don't see everybody fitting in a cage with Brock Lesnar unless
Well,
he's a
see that
surprise.
see that's the fun thing is they don't have to. It makes them get out of it a lot quicker.
Unless he's the surprise like they did Randy Orton last year.
No, I don't. I think The Rock is, Hollywood's too important for The Rock than WWE, even though he claims WWE's home, but he can never fit WWE into his Hollywood schedule. It's always
Just had a
he,
new movie come out.
he never
Honestly, I
never
kind of want to see
changes
it.
he never changes his Hollywood schedule for his WWE schedule. It's the WWE schedule has to change for the Hollywood schedule.
Well,
So
AJ, it's not even that. He's filming live action Moana.
No thanks.
I'm not even kidding you. He is 1000% filming live action Moana.
I know you're not kidding. Still, no thanks.
no thanks.
Well, every little freaking
I mean, I
kid
hope the
that
chicken's real.
every little kid that's gonna go watch Moana 2 here at the end of the month is gonna buck your no thanks.
I'm gonna love it when they do the Moana live, and they're all like, "That's the same thing as the first one. Why do we need it again?"
Because the live action The Lion King was any different than the
That was
cartoon one?
was the same
25
movie.
years after the first one, so that makes a little bit of a difference. But literally, we're what, 10 years, 8 years from the first one?
And about to
Not
have a
even that?
sequel to the first movie?
This is
Still not
it's
helping.
stupid. He always has to change his WWE schedule to fit his Hollywood schedule, and one day maybe we'll be first.
So anyway, next week when it's Seth Rollins is the fifth man and they get beat again, what are we gonna do then?
Well, there's what, 2 more weeks before Survivor Series. It could be Seth first. Doesn't mean it's going to be
Pretty
Seth's
sure it's
match.
next weekend.
Is it next weekend? I get lost.
I thought the way they were talking is like a week from. They kept saying like a 10 days or something from SmackDown, or I don't know.
Oh
Either
my
way,
God.
we're not going to spoil the spoilers. We all know Raw was recorded last week.
It's
so
November.
we'll find
it's
out
November
tomorrow.
30th.
So it would be the weekend after.
So, I mean, we're not going to ruin it for people that haven't seen the spoilers.
Why was that Raw recorded?
Because Thanksgiving week they get off. They don't do live shows during the week of
Which
Thanksgiving.
But next week isn't Thanksgiving week.
I don't know. Do we not? What is it? The week after?
Yeah, it's the week
Yeah.
after.
Oh, I don't know then.
That's why I'm like, why was this Raw recorded? Unless that Raw was recorded for 2 weeks from now.
Very well could be. Next week, this week could be live. I don't know. Could be
I was-
awkward.
But
I've
people
been
are
trying to
bitching
figure
about
that out.
giving so
Like,
much
what?
time off to
Or they
wrestlers.
they may give them all whole 2 weeks off for the week before and the week of Thanksgiving, so that there's.
I mean, they are performing like a day after.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the guys that are overseas, because of travel and all that kind of stuff, they give
Mhm.
them more time, to be with their families and stuff. Now, remember, we don't live in the Vince McMahon world anymore, where we gotta be on time and be on shows for people spending holidays to watch wrestling, which died years ago, unfortunately. I mean, our Thanksgiving night used to be a huge night for professional wrestling in general, and now it's kind of like, yeah, it's not that important anymore. I can't bring up their live schedule.
So I'm seeing a lot of
For
flack
sure.
on the socials that people are pissed off about all these taped events. What's your take on them?
I mean, again, we just talked about it. It's so these guys can have home lives.
Yeah.
They're not. This isn't 1989, 1990 where they work or 300 days a year. They don't work that schedule anymore. This is a sport that has no off season. So to give them breaks, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm
Give 'em
just
breaks.
curious, but who's upset? AEW fans?
I don't know. I
No,
just see all like
there's been flack for them to keep recording shows, and it's
I mean, they were just in Saudi. That's gonna happen.
heck my
It is what
well,
it is.
that
well,
December
technically
13th SmackDown in Hartford is a double taping.
yes, and it's more for. I mean, the Saudi thing. I think that's because they wanted to do a Raw in Saudi. Is why they stayed over there and recorded that one over there. Um, I mean, we
But
usually
I don't
get
have a
this
problem. Like, I don't understand why people would have a problem with that.
Because people are
because
getting it
spoilers get
spoiled.
out.
So do yourself a favor. Take your cell phone, set it the fuck down. Get off of social media yourself if you can't handle it yourself.
Well, I mean,
Blame the company because you can't not look up
you would.
spoilers.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's so much blaming the company. It's blaming people for spoiling shows. You can't. You can't expect somebody to stay off social media for a full week when if you're talking like literally we're talking about the WWE right now, and if all three of us open up any kind of social media, it's gonna go straight to a WWE or a wrestling topic. So once you're talking about it, it's gonna happen. But you have to learn to roll with the punches. This isn't your daddy's wrestling anymore. They're gonna take breaks. You're gonna get the holiday seasons. Granted, I think they are Christmas is recorded. The week of Christmas show is recorded. The week of New Year's is recorded. But I can almost bet you I know house show wise, the 28th, I think it is, they're back in Baltimore. The following week, the night or whatever, they're back in New York. So the holiday house shows are gonna still happen like they normally do. They're just
Imagine
giving
both
these.
NXTs are probably on hold or being pre-recorded or post. However,
I don't think they're being recorded because they're performance center, so they're already there. They don't have to worry. They're not the fans that want to come watch the show will come watch the show anyway because it's already in Orlando.
well, isn't it Christmas and New Year's Eve? I wouldn't think you'd get a whole lot.
I don't know. I'd be all over it for Christmas or Christmas Eve and stuff. But
But you're the
we've seen.
guru.
I mean, I would imagine to say that this Tuesday's episode will probably be a double taping for NXT. I can't talk highly enough of NXT. I have fallen madly in love with watching NXT here of late. Their ECW show was fantastic. I hear that that's now going to become a yearly thing where they go to the 2300 arena to do a show. It doesn't need to be a pay-per-view. It could just be a regular NXT show. It was well worth it. There was a lot of really good matches, a lot of good things I saw. The tease of Zarya versus Jordan Grace in NXT has got me excited. I have seen their interactions in Australia, which was a lot of fun to watch. So I'm kind of looking forward to that with the whole Iron Survivor for Deadline in December. The NXT women's division is without a doubt the best women's division in all of wrestling at this moment. I would put it up against any of them quality wise, and they would win. Um, they're 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 putting it out there, and they're putting up really good matches. That whole division is. TJ, I'll let you talk about it because you finally got one part of your thing you've been wanting. It was
Did you fill
revealed on
out your bracket?
SmackDown. It was revealed on SmackDown that we are getting a Women's United States Championship. I had a feeling we wasn't gonna get both mid-card women's titles at the exact same time. I just didn't see that happening. That would have been a little too much at one time. So I wouldn't be shocked that the U.S. champion gets crowned at Saturday night's main event in December. I wouldn't say that the Intercontinental title will show up before or after that to be at Rumble. I would say, knowing Raw, they'll probably make theirs an Elimination Chamber match for the Intercontinental title because I doubt they do a tournament.
That'd be cool.
The other cool thing they could do is really, if they really wanted to, is the Women's Royal Rumble match. You win the Intercontinental title and you get a shot at whatever world title you want at
You don't think that'd be
WrestleMania.
too much? Because I would think it'd be a little too much.
That would be their way of being able to move a woman wrestler if they needed to. Like,
And
say
also,
for
too, nothing says you hold the belt till Mania.
well, I'm just saying that
The Intercontinental
it's
belt.
it's a way for them
Or
to
backlash like they did with
to
the world
move.
title a
Like,
couple years ago.
say for instance, if Tiffany cashes in, but she cashes in on Liv and would win the women's world title at War Games, she's gonna move to Raw, so that leaves a hole at SmackDown that you could easily, you know what I mean, kind of move people around, finagle people around, however they want to do it. But
Are you okay with them being called the same as the men's titles?
yeah, I don't think we need to have like, yeah, I've seen it on the video games where people have created the women's mid card titles and they've got some really cool names. Like the one I use on mine is the Liberty Championship or
Oh, that's
any
nice.
of that kind of stuff. That works, and it kind of got, you knew that was going to happen because NXT kept the North American name,
Yeah.
so you kind of knew that was going to happen. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing. You're gonna get, everybody's gonna get what they've wanted. They're getting a white strapped Intercontinental title. Only it's gonna be the women's Intercontinental title. So I'm curious
And that's
to
my
see what
favorite
that's
one.
gonna look like.
I'm kind of
I won't
upset.
lie, the women's United States title, I like the white.
They should have made it a spinner.
My God,
Well,
no.
the one thing I noticed of the women's U.S. title that I'm waiting for them to redo on LA Knight's U.S. title is the center plate is not as thick and bulky as it is on the men's United States title. It's been milled down and is thinner. Because if you ever notice with like LA Knight and people that's held it before, or TJ has the title. The center of the belt is heavy and
It's
it flops
huge.
forward. Now it's kind of milled down and lightened up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see.
I do wish they had added blue amongst the stars, though. On the top.
Well, remember the first version of the
Had
U.S.
it.
title was supposed to have it painted, and then they didn't paint it. But I'm looking forward to it. The tournament bracket is kind of wonky.
So is it a bunch of triple threat matches that lead into a fatal four-way?
No, it's a bunch of triple threat matches that lead into singles matches from then on out.
Okay.
But it's just
Bailey,
kind of,
Candice LeRae, and B-Fab.
Word.
yes, and apparently
That's
that match
the-
has already taken place, but I won't say anything else more than that.
Bianca, Chelsea Green, and Blair Davenport. That's the left side of the bracket.
Yeah, like I kind of really wish we're gonna get some upsets. I really don't want it to be Bailey, Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. I think that would be really stupid.
I don't know any results, and I'm telling you right now, if Chelsea Green doesn't win this fucking title, I riot.
I just hope they don't make it that if it's supposed to be the mid card title, it should be the mid card title. And I don't think taking those four and making them the final four of this makes sense.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of with putting it on somebody that's got like a pedigree is, would it immediately give it status?
My honest to God opinion on this is anybody that has been a champion, whether they're the tag champs or the world WWE champ or the world champion, should not have been on this bracket.
I mean,
You could take-
my bracket
you
was
take-
already busted.
You take out those four that have been world champions, and you have a solid 8-woman bracket.
And I would have been okay with take out those couple women and pull like a couple people from NXT up.
No, you would. I mean, I agree, but you wouldn't even. Holy shit!
What was that?
That's a car headed up the road. But I mean, you take Bailey, Bianca, Naomi, and Jade out of those matches.
Yep.
You get a singles match between Candice LeRae and B-Fab, Chelsea Green versus Blair Davenport, Meechin and Piper Nevin, and Tiffany Stratton and Elektra Lopez. That would have been a good bracket. You didn't need to those four should not be in this tournament bracket.
Yeah. I agree.
And
In any way,
honestly,
shape,
of
or
the
form.
4 of them, I don't hope any of them move on.
I mean, the only thing that could save this in a sense, but it's still going to deter from it, is if it does come down to Bianca and Jade, and this is what creates the diversity or division in their team.
If it comes down to the 2 of them, I don't even care anymore. I would be so mad.
I'm
You have no idea.
That's the only thing I can think that would be, because what I could see happening is Jade and Bianca be the 2 that have to face each other. Jade wins by whatever, and it starts to create the friction between the 2. The next thing you know, pray to God that Chelsea and Piper take the tag titles off of them, and then that's what sets us up for WrestleMania, Bianca versus Jade, United States Women's Title match. That's the only thing I can think that makes sense of this. That's why them 4 are in there.
I mean,
Unless it's
I agree with TJ. I'd be perfectly fine with either Piper or Chelsea. Either one.
I've got 2. I think
Or
Chelsea,
Elektra Lopez. I think that'd be a great first
I've
title
got
champion.
I've got 2. Mine is Chelsea on the left side of the bracket and Meechin on the right side of the bracket. I'm always going to go with my girl Meechin.
Well, I like Meechin too, but the way I think about this, how it could build a storyline between the 2 of them, is Piper wins. Chelsea's jealous.
But I don't want that team to break up.
Or Piper and Chelsea both win on their side, and now they're both in the final 4.
Yeah, I don't
And they
want
both
Chelsea.
and they both pin each other.
I don't want
one
Chelsea.
one helps the other to win, the one tries to help the other to win, but they lose.
Yeah, I don't want Chelsea and Piper to have a split. If there's going to be a team with a split, it has to be Bianca and Jade, because we're all ready for it. Hell, I think them 2.
I would have been really happy with Chelsea and Meechin as the final match.
As it's been reported, they might be already tired of each other, so they might be ready for that split.
Well, if that's the case, they should split, and one of them should go to Raw.
I don't even remember, where were they drafted?
They're SmackDown.
They're SmackDown.
Both?
Yeah.
Well, Jade signed with SmackDown with her contract. Remember, she had the open contract. But
are you guys getting tired of the brand split?
No.
I kind of wish they'd go back to brand pay-per-views. I know we had this conversation right after WrestleMania, and
yes and no, because if you go to brand, if you go to brand pay-per-views,
like Raw gets Backlash, then Judgment Day is SmackDown, and then Money in the Bank is both.
But I like pay-per-views being 5 to 6 matches of both shows. It's the top. There's 3 stories going on both shows. That's what the payoffs are of the pay-per-views. If you do the individual shows, now you got to fill 6 matches or 5 to 6 to 7 matches off of one show, where if you look at it, after the Roman and the Bloodline story and the Cody and KO story, it falls off a cliff. I mean, LA Knight has been fighting the same 3 people since he won the U.S. title. Santos showed back up this week on Friday after being gone for a while. So those 3 are back. Then we get Shinsuke that shows back up with a whole new character. He looks like something out of one of those dorky space movies that you guys watch. And he takes out LA Knight. So now you got Shinsuke. So by the time this is over with, LA Knight would have done defeated Mexico, Carmelo Hayes, and then the Japanese guy. I mean, that's basically, he's the United Nations of champions.
I'm just saying, why bring Shinsuke back if he's not going to take it off of him?
Because it's another bigger name for LA Knight to beat.
Shinsuke's a bigger name?
Shinsuke is still a bigger name than LA Knight.
Do you remember who was the first big title fight for Seth Rollins?
You got to think of it globally. Shinsuke
But he
from
hasn't been
Japan
around.
is still Shinsuke.
But he's been doing house shows. It's still Shinsuke Nakamura. You get
I-
outside of our little United States and the world goes, "Ooh, Shinsuke Nakamura."
I mean, granted, I don't like him. Never liked him. I think his finishing move is stupid. The whole he gets to the ring and then the match starts is about where I lose him. But you never know. He is a Triple H guy in a way. So
And I'm not trying to take anything away from him. The worst thing you could do is be gone for so long and then come back and nobody give a shit.
well, that's what he did with Cody. He showed back up with that whole promo, and everyone was like, "The hell is this about?" Nobody cares.
Nobody cares this time for what I'm reading.
We don't know what the character is now. He had his face painted. He had darkened eyes or something. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to SmackDown on Friday.
And besides, now that Logan Paul's done hyping up his brother, I'm sure he'll be back soon.
I don't know. You might be fighting Tyson now.
But
What the bleep,
anyway.
Mike? I would bleep and kill you.
Yeah, I kill you. By the way, any worries for Netflix with Raw? I'll throw that one out there because I got that one a lot.
Why don't we see how Christmas Day in the NFL goes?
Well, do you think I've officially seen the number for Netflix? I don't think we're gonna get that many people tuning in to Raw
What was
on
it, like
Monday night.
26 million trying to view that?
Like I said, let's worry about the 2 NFL games they're supposed to do on Christmas Day.
Somewhere in the ballpark of I heard 73.
Oh shit.
Most watched thing in America.
I believe
on that
Jake,
platform.
I believe 5.5 million people tuned into Antonio Brown's live stream of the big board in the stadium, and Jake Paul's comment was, "More people logged into the illegal stream of my fight. More people logged into that than they did on average for the NBA playoffs." So, all right, let's get this going. We don't want to be here all night. People got things to do.
Sleep.
We're in the month of November. We are almost done. I believe TJ has a 1 month
5-4.
lead.
5-4.
Yeah, 1 month lead. Going into one of the crucialest months of wrestling, period.
History.
Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a spoiler here that AJ takes the month.
We get a screw job.
Eh.
We get the same guy.
Dude,
on
if you
both-
don't take November,
Just
damn.
off of the screw
If we-
job?
If we get a screw job and we get the same guy on two different shows at the same time,
a difference a
literally, I
day
think-
makes.
I'm pretty sure literally
No,
at the exact.
It's the exact same time. They timed it
It's-
perfectly.
Yeah, I found out, or it's right after he's on Raw, he shows up walking out on Nitro. I think that's how I remember it,
Yeah, but isn't Raw taped?
but that's why.
That's why
'Cause-
because he even says the difference a day makes.
So, let's start with. We're gonna go to November
Just
the
got
3rd,
bright as hell.
Monday Night Nitro. And we pointed this out because I never realized this. Nitro is being held at the Spectrum in Philly, which is Wells Fargo now. Monday Night Raw is live the same night, literally an hour and a half away. Raw's in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania, in the Giant Center, well, the Hershey Park Arena at this point. Of all the places that I've been to for wrestling, this is the one arena that I have not been to yet. That's
It's not
close to
bad.
me.
It's not bad.
That I'm looking forward to, only because of the history of Hershey and wrestle in the WWF, and that looked like your fingernail just broke off. But anyhow, let's go to so your two dark matches you have on Nitro from the Spectrum is Chavo Guerrero Sr. defeated Lenny
Senior.
Lane, and Dean and Eddie Guerrero defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. and Steven Regal.
Speaking of Dean, I don't know if I've apologized yet. I'm sorry.
It doesn't say no. The Dean match isn't dark.
Oh, I
match.
saw Dean and thought it said dark. They both started with DM.
They were both dark. I mean, it might as well have been a dark match. Nobody like you're gonna take the oddest 4 pairing and have them fight each other. Okay, 2 of which are on a team that hate each other. The other 2 that kind of also hate each other and blame each other for losing the belts, losing the belt. And Regal and Mysterio, kind of weird. They're obviously at this point we're building for World War III at the end of the month, where it's every man for himself. Yeah. Fit Finley defeats Squire Dave Taylor. Yuji Nagata with Sonny Ono defeating Psychosis. Saturn with Raven defeating the Disco Inferno to win the World Television Championship. Chris,
Hey, is this Saturn was the guy last month that you said was sitting with
he was one of
Raven,
them.
correct?
Raven's flock is growing over this
It,
month.
it is growing, yes.
It grows a lot,
Yes.
actually.
Saturn was always one of my favorites
We talking about
from
Perry
the
Saturn?
flock. It's Perry Saturn.
You
saw
got one eye that's
Saturn-
going that way, one eye that's going that way.
I saw Saturn in ECW when he tagged with
Former
Cronus.
Army Ranger.
He's a former Army Ranger. He tagged with a guy named John Cronus in ECW, and they were called the Eliminators. I thought they were awesome because their stuff looked stiff. When he showed up in WCW, I was like, this is gonna be fun. I don't think he wrestled much, and he already wins the World Television title. I always liked Saturn's build, like
Big boy.
his character and everything was always kind of cool to me. It's just he was out there. I believe after his time in WWE, he became homeless. He's from Boston, Massachusetts. I think Chris Jericho helped him out at one point. Now he's, I guess, on the road to being better. I just always liked it that
honestly helped out a lot of people apparently.
Saturn was one of the first ones. I always liked it when he came to the ring. The camera always gets really close to your face, and he would just look at the camera and go, "What are you looking at?" And then he would get in the ring.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Chris Jericho because in our next match he defeats Scott Hall.
Straight up.
There's some things to it, but it doesn't elaborate. I might have some notes that could fill some in blanks. Cyclope versus Damien versus El Dandy versus Juventud versus Lismark versus Silver King versus Viano 4 and 5 ends in a no contest battle royal because the Giant comes out and says, "Fuck these guys, I'm the Giant." Ric Flair defeats Alex Wright with Queen Deborah. Ray Traylor defeats Mongo. The Steiner brothers, the champions with DiBiase, defeat Public Enemy in a Philadelphia street fight to retain the title. I've never understood, why is it called a street fight if it never involves a street? Especially in Philly. Like, just go outside for a minute. But I digress. Henning, champion, defeats Luger by disqualification to retain. I'm sure, as you can imagine, you figure he gets jumped by the NWO. We got at the top of the show some interesting news that Hogan will fight Sting at Starrcade. They had a contract signing as Fry. You can help me out with the name of his movie. Assault on
Devil's Island.
While that was going on, it was during a commercial. They have like a contract signing thing. Sting shows up, signs the contract, threatens Hogan with the bat, and walks out. So their match for Starrcade is finally official. We find out Piper is out indefinitely after Halloween Havoc when he got cuffed to the cage and beat on.
He has a slight brain bleed that causes him to not be on TV. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was filming or filmed during a episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Interesting.
Around the same time, but I remember they talked about him having brain aneurysm or a brain bleed from being handcuffed and hit on the side of the head repeatedly. It was just a way to write him off TV.
Diamond Dallas Page shoots on Hogan and how he's gonna take Hogan out.
Yeah, I always thought that was funny. Diamond Dallas Page, like, always hints that he wants a match with Hogan one on one. It never it never develops at all. Like, it was basically Page just trying to get himself into a main event spot by just talking, and Hogan
I mean,
was
he's
like,
over. Honestly, I don't know like what they were waiting for, because Page is over. He's easily one of the most popular guys in the WCW outside of an NWO person. Like, I would have wanted to seen that match from what I've watched.
Yeah, but you got to remember the way they worked. There's that guy in the black and white face paint that they're waiting for Starcade.
Right, but like he has
That's
other
the
matches
payoff.
with people.
Who?
Hogan. It's not like Hogan doesn't fight.
Yeah, but Hogan hasn't had a match since he beat Luger. He hasn't had a singles match since he beat Luger at Road Wild.
He just had a match, a cage match.
Yeah, but that had interference and everything
And he
else.
has a match with the
Piper.
Giant at the end of the month.
Does he?
Yes. That's why I'm like, Hogan fights. I don't know. Granted, he's filming movies, and we also find out this month that Sting's filming a movie. They have a whole poster get snuck into the NWO's locker room. I think it's next episode. They make a whole big deal about it. Sting's on the car I can't remember the name of the movie. I don't think I ever would have watched the movie, but it looked like a Lifetime movie or something, but he's in it. But that's what I had for notes for November 3rd Nitro. Wasn't a lot. It was a lot of wrestling. The wrestling was featured, put it that way, which we all like when wrestling is featured on a wrestling program, right? Bry's looking up the movie now.
I am, because I was.
I know.
Was it called The Real Reason?
Yes.
Men commit
Yes.
crimes.
Yes.
That's awkward. I know. Don't. It's a pay-per-view only film.
He
It's-
is. They
you can't even
show the
click on the
picture. They
movie
show
thing.
the poster, and he is like the third guy down on the left side. Like the main person is big and on the right, and he's like the third guy down on the left side. It's Sting. Bischoff makes a whole big stink about it because they're all like, Sting's trying to get into Hogan's Hollywood. Because Hogan was supposed to be the only Hollywood icon. Piper isn't the icon.
6 bachelors attempt to use their charm and talents to win the hand of a beautiful, sophisticated young woman. Along the way, they each commit a preparation of the law.
Perpetration?
Perpetration.
A lot of letters.
Whatever.
They break the goddamn law.
and attempts to gain the affections of the stunning lady. Do you want to know what Sting's character's name is in this movie?
Because you're laughing now, I do.
His name is Sparky.
Sounds like to me Sting got stung.
There's characters in this show called Sparky, Bucky, Snooty, and not Dwayne, Dwayne.
My guess is that's what the lady in the show was calling them.
It's a 7 out of 7, or it's 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb ratings. So I guess it's not a bad movie.
Yeah, it's halfway decent.
It's above halfway decent, evidently.
38%, which is 29 people, said it was a 10. There's no reviews, just the voting on the ratings.
So do we have a Rotten Tomato meter?
I'm gonna have to find this movie and watch it.
Something tells me you're gonna have so much instant regret.
I don't even know where to find it.
Well, damn. Now I wish we'd have kept this for a Stump the Guru question.
Not Daniel Bryan.
What was the name of the movie Sting was caught filming?
I'm gonna have to
on
look that up later and
97?
watch it. Okay. So we're done Nitro. We're gonna go to Monday Night Raw, November the 3rd, 1997. From an hour and a half away, give or take, maybe a little shorter.
Depending on
Hershey
who's
Park
driving.
Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yep, and we start off with Stone Cold in the ring and basically bitching about Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed Johnson comes out, and I thought they were going to get into an altercation. They did not get into an altercation, just a verbal bitch fight. And it was kind of wasted because everybody from out back was in the ring ready to pull them off. So I was waiting for it and just never freaking happened.
Well, they were probably afraid Ahmed was going to hurt himself.
Yeah, you know, fair point. Fair point. But yeah, to start, we have a WWF light heavyweight title tournament qualifying match, or quarterfinal match. Aguilar defeating Super Loco in just about 5 minutes. This is going to be a fun little tournament.
Just to give a point of reference, the guy that wrestled as Super Loco,
Yeah.
wrestled in ECW as Super Crazy. Very popular guy in ECW for his wild, outlandish.
I mean, he was in WWE too with the
Mexicals.
Thank you. Oh, John Deere
Yeah.
lawnmowers.
The what?
Weren't they John Deere's?
No, they were Wandeers. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Then
not
Mark-
kidding. It's written on the side of the tractor. It says Wandeer.
Then
Well,
something
get
that
your
is,
lawn mowing and towing show on the road, will you?
something that has really started, and I kind of don't know where it started. Gold Dust is really turning heel, like really bad, out of feels like left field. Because I felt bad for Marlena, very bad for Marlena, and damn, it's rough. Like, it's a conversation that they were having with an interview with, I think it was JR. And I'm just like, we shouldn't be watching this. This should be on Dr. Phil.
Yeah, it's a really intense piece between the two of them. I think he even blames her because of the time she spent away.
Mhm.
And not raising the daughter becomes a thing. I think at this point they really are going through a divorce or at least separation. We're really getting close to the whole artist formerly known as Gold Dust story here. This is the starts of that.
Kind of weird how we got Deborah and Mongo on one side, like on the outs, and you got Marlena and Goldust on this side, kind of on the outs.
Oh, we have another one going out in the outs too. But we'll get there.
What, Brett and Sunny Days?
No. So basically, out of the 4 or 5 matches we have tonight, everything else is set up for Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart for Survivor Series.
Is this the Raw where we get the whole visors with the windshield wipers from Slaughter talking to them and spitting and stuff? They really start
yes.
amping up the Slaughter
Yes.
picking. Yeah.
Yep.
Because now we're going to start getting into that whole Triple H versus Sergeant Slaughter feud.
Just about 50 some odd minutes in, but Ahmed Johnson's coming out to face Stone Cold. Doesn't happen. Because who comes out afterwards? It's gotta be Kane. And as
Just tried to do that as McMahon / Paul Bearer, and I'm so confused.
as he tried, didn't work, but Mankind comes out with this turnbuckle and just wails him, and they show it. it bends the minute it hits Kane. Obviously, it's not really the turnbuckle, but holy crap! And then Kane just didn't hurt, bitch. Just sits up, and then from there, that's basically it. We go into a DX segment, and that's where Sergeant Slaughter comes out, and very funny, very funny. The second match of the evening doesn't start until an hour into Monday Night Raw.
Remember what I said about wrestling on a wrestling program? God damn, Raw.
Hey, I don't care. All of it's been entertaining, though. As long as I'm entertained, I can give a rat's bleeping butt. But Mark Marrow with Sable defeating Savio Vega, and something that you've really started noticing since Mark Marrow's come back is don't look at Sable. Obviously, don't touch Sable. Just don't do anything. Like, look in the an opposite direction, because Mark Marrow has no problem saying he gonna f you up.
I wish she just had the balls to say that to our future husband.
It,
Mm.
um, and then you have Vader and the British Bulldog in a collar match. Not a collar
What?
match? What's it called?
No, it's a dog collar match. That's what I'm reading too. But Vader and Bulldog in a dog collar match,
Yes.
and it went 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, that's because somebody decided to jump in the ring.
Number one, how did you get a dog collar around Vader's neck?
They had an extra like loop
An
on
extension.
They did. Like
They
a very
put two
tiny
together
one.
to make one.
So they had a TJ safety belt for the go-karts.
So they had Team Canada helping out, and that had Philip and
Hey, I have not ever been accused of using the extra belt buckle extender on an airplane. Nope, never.
They had Furnace and LaFon. Jim Neidhart hit the ring just as Vader was about to win. And then this random dude jumps the barricade and starts kicking people's legs out, and they're selling for him. So I wasn't quite sure of, is this planned? But the way they tackle him and everything, and the way the wrestlers are beating the crap out of him, I had no clue if it was planned or not. Until Survivor Series. And then to end the night, well, not end
So
the
who
night,
was it?
You find out a Survivor Series.
Oh,
Evidently, it's
okay,
a part of the
okay.
story. But I think it's
Gotcha.
funny how, the biggest feud that Owen and Bulldog had as tag champs was Doug Furnace and Philip LaFon, and now they're a tag team for Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Thought that was kind of interesting.
Then you have Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg Jesse James defeating Los Boricuas. This is the start of the New Age Outlaws.
But they're not called the New Age Outlaws yet.
Not yet. But Road Dogg is doing his walking to the ring on the mic, introducing everybody.
I don't count
I didn't know.
I don't count it as the New Age Outlaws till they start wearing the South Park shirts.
Even when they start calling themselves the New Age Outlaws?
Not really. That was the first thing I remember seeing is when they come out wearing the Cartman shirts. But anyway, next.
And then to end the night, you have Ken Shamrock and Shawn Michaels with DX barred from ringside, and that doesn't really last long. It's a pretty much a really back and forth match until Rick Rude, China, and Triple H get involved.
But they were barred from ringside.
I have it here that it was by DQ and it was for the European title.
Yep.
I feel like WWF drops the ball at this little time period with Shamrock. He should have been a champion of something.
And that briefcase that Rick Rude has, Triple H pedigrees Ken Shamrock's head through.
Ooh, on that. Do you know what that briefcase is called?
Is it a Halliburton?
There you go.
I only know because Deborah and Mongo had been
all wrestlers
plugging one all
use
freaking beginning of the year.
That might be the last match on TV, but after the matches, we have a dark match. And it's Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Legion of Doom and The Undertaker defeating the Nation of Domination, D'Lo Brown, Farouk Kama, and Rocky Maivia in an 8-man tag team match to send everybody home happy.
Man, I wish that had been on TV.
If it was on TV, it would have went less than 5 minutes and been a shit show. Probably only did go 5 minutes on the house show, but who cares?
Sounds like it would have been
So-
entertaining TV.
Moving along, we're gonna go to November the 9th, 1997, live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, from the Molson Center.
Now known
20,500.
as La Centre Bell.
I thought it was the
They-
Canadian Tire Center.
They can't even spell center right, so what do I care?
It's Centre. It's French.
20,593 people
I'm aware
attended.
it's French. The damn
And
ring
the-
announcer did everything in French.
The tagline presented to you by Karate Fighters. Did either of you two have Karate Fighters when you were a kid?
No.
TJ?
Is it a
You
game?
put the peep. No, it was the one where it was a holder, and you put your ninja guy on the end of it with put his one foot down on the peg, and then at the other end was a twisty knob, and you could twist it back and forth, and
Was
he
it
would swing
Rock'em
and kick.
Sock'em Robots?
And if they had a button on their chest, and if you hit the button, the guy popped off. They lost.
Yeah.
I had all of them. I had
90s
all of 'em.
memory unlocked.
I had all of
Oh.
them because they were sponsoring WWF. I had all. I think it was 6 of them. I had all of them. They were cool. But then I had nobody to play them with, so I had to play against the wall.
That's not where I thought
It's a-
that was going. I thought you were going to say something else.
2-person play.
I thought you were going to say you were playing with yourself.
Well, let's see. 1997. I was 10. I hadn't figured that out yet, AJ. Anyway, the tagline for this event is Gang Rules, and it's not rule like RULE, it's RULZ. That's about as stupid as the spelling of center being RE instead of ER. But I digress. This is a time period like we talked
The
about.
difference is one
that
of them is
all-
legit.
That all Vince wanted at this point was factions. Everybody's got to be in a faction.
And there are multiple styles.
Ironically enough, New Japan and AEW is like, they all got to be in a faction. So it's kind of funny. Make fun of Vince, but Vince had factions before factions were cool. But everybody's in a faction here. Also, to note, because I love making these notes, this is the first show that uses the Scratch WWF Attitude logo.
Yes, and they do have an Attitude commercial in.
Yes. This is the very first show.
And they start off with a bang. The New Age Outlaws and the Godwins defeat the Headbangers and the New Blackjacks. And just throwing it out there, the New Age Outlaws come to the ring with the Godwins, and they still have the torn up hats from the New Blackjacks around their neck. Thought it was a funny touch. But yeah, the Godwins and the New Age Outlaws win in about 15 minutes. It's all elimination style. There's about 3 of these matches.
Just to give you an idea for this first match, Henry O is eliminated at 3:52 by Bradshaw. Wyndham is eliminated by the Pig Guy at 5:14. Mosh is eliminated by Billy Gunn at 8:42. The Pig Guy, Phineas, is eliminated by Thrasher at 12:38. Blackjack Bradshaw is eliminated by Road Dogg at 13:44. And then Thrasher is eliminated by Billy Gunn at 15:25, all by pinfall. So your sole survivors for your first elimination match are the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
The second one was kind of... The second match, which was another Survivor Series traditional match, it was the Truth Commission defeating the Disciples of Apocalypse. They set how this match was going to go up very early, with the Interrogator not touching the ring at all until It was time.
While he eliminates the first guy, he eliminates Chains at a minute 18.
Oh, well, then I lied.
The Jackal, the Jackal was eliminated by 8 Ball at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Recon was who is Bull Buchanan was eliminated by Skull at 15:18. Skull was then eliminated by Sniper at 6:30. 8 Ball was eliminated by the Interrogator at 8:50. Sniper was eliminated by Crush at 9:46. And Crush was finally eliminated by the Interrogator at 9:59, making your sole survivor the Interrogator.
And once the Jackal was eliminated, guess where he went?
The broadcast booth.
Yeah, because Don
It's
Callis
Don-
loves to
it's-
talk.
Don Callis at his best, my guy.
Is he? Do you actually like his commentary and his stuff?
I like it when he's not on TV. I liked his old podcast that he had. Him and Lance Storm had a podcast,
Yeah.
and it was very entertaining.
Because I don't like him now. I really don't like him on AEW when we watch it. And every time he gets a microphone or gets on the commentary desk, I'm just like, dude, you're annoying. Stop talking.
Pretty much.
Like some people we know.
So your third match is Team Canada, the Bulldog, Neihart, Furnace, and LaFon. Defeat Team USA is Vader, Goldust, Mark Mero, and I guess the guy in the crowd was Steve Blackman.
Yes, it was.
Steve Blackman from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, still owns a karate dojo in Harrisburg.
Apparently, he's a 3-time black belt, which I don't understand how that works. That you can reacquire a black belt multiple times.
He's a third-degree black belt. It's just a different disciplines.
Got it.
Makes sense. He did to make his debut in Hershey. He's right around the corner from his hometown and everything.
Well, they're also playing it as he is a fan that just jumped the barricade that is now in this match, as like kind of like a punishment kind of thing.
Well, apparently he's the first one eliminated by countout.
Yep.
At 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Jim Neihart is eliminated by Vader at 6:53. Phil LaFon is eliminated by Vader at 8:28. Mark Mero is eliminated by Doug Furnace at 11:18. Goldust is counted out at 16:26.
Because he refused to get into the ring.
Okay. And then Doug Furnace is eliminated by Vader at 6:54. And then finally, Vader is eliminated by the British Bulldog at 17 minutes, making the sole survivor of the battle the British Bulldog.
Yeah, this was really bad with Goldust because he had a cast on, and he just refused to get into the ring, and Vader just has enough of it and just walks up to him in the corner, just pow.
Yeah. So we have 3 Survivor Series matches. We have 4 total, right?
Yep.
Talk about heel heavy.
Right?
I mean, the New Age Outlaws win the first one, heel. Then the Interrogator wins the second one, heel. British Bulldog wins the third one, heel. What's our fourth one?
The Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, with Ahmed Johnson and Ken Shamrock defeating the Nation of Domination, The Rock, Farouk, Kama Mustafa, and D'Lo Brown.
And in those eliminations, you get The Rock eliminates Hawk at 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Ahmed Johnson eliminates Farouk at 4:53. The Rock eliminates Ahmed at 6:09. Animal eliminates Kama at 10:44. Animal is counted out at 14:12. And then Shamrock eliminates both D'Lo and The Rock by submission. Your sole survivor is Ken Shamrock.
I might be the only one that thinks it's cool, but just at the same time as Triple H is going by Triple H, The Rock is starting to go by The Rock. Yes. Instead of Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Rocky Maivia.
We also see Kane's first official match on pay-per-view. He defeats Mankind in 9 minutes and 27 seconds. Let's make Kane look huge. Let's send Mankind out there to get his ass whipped. That's basically what that turned into.
I thought the dude from the Spanish announce table, because the way Kane chucked Mankind off of the ropes backwards through a table, I thought the Spanish guy's announce table, his leg went, because you could hear Jerry Lawler say, "Don't get up, don't get up, lay there, they're coming for you."
He may have. And then you get. I haven't went back and watched this pay-per-view. I probably should have. But I'm just looking at results. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeats Owen Hart to win the Intercontinental Championship in 4 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, it felt really rushed.
That's.
It was a very good match. When
This isn't the broken neck match, is it?
no, that was
SummerSlam.
Yes, SummerSlam. Sorry.
But I mean, I don't know if it was kept short for Austin's safety or not, but like, if this is the payoff for the Austin Owen feud and they only gave him 4 minutes, that's shitty.
Yeah, I don't know why it went so short. Honestly, what it turned into was the minute Stone Cold got an advantage, Team Canada would hit the ring, and he would just stun them. They'd roll out, and then he kind of
So it was like a 4-minute Monday Night Raw segment.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, because actually, to be honest with you, until I read the results here, I could not figure out in my head, because I know Austin gets the IC title back because I know what happens the following month. I could not remember this match ever happening. And because it's only 4 minutes, why would I remember it? And then, of course, the main event, it's the most notorious match in wrestling history. Shawn Michaels defeats Bret Hart. It says by submission at 19
Bullshit.
minutes and 58 seconds. I mean, he did have him in the sharpshooter when the bell rang, whether he said I quit or not. This could turn into a large debate at some point. Yeah, this match has been picked apart by so many different people.
It was
We
a
really-
very, very good match until the finish.
Even after, I mean, until the bell rang and you figured out what was going on,
Yeah.
it was a great match. Brett and Shawn could work. They could work each other no matter what.
They hated each other, but they were great in the ring.
Let me ask you a simple question. Is this match remembered for being what it is if it wasn't for how it ended? Do we even just be like, oh, that was just another good Brett and Shawn match? This match has literally become infamous.
I don't think you could put it on the same level of their Iron Man match just because their Iron Man match was 60 minutes.
That Iron Man match is easily
But right, but
one
that's
of my
what I'm
favorite
saying. Like,
matches of
that
the
is
ring.
a great match. But this match is infamous. You
This
say
match-
screw job in wrestling, and everybody goes, oh, and they take their
This-
side and they put up their battle card, and
Yeah,
They're in.
This match was good. I mean, to be a screw job, and they gave them 20 minutes. I mean,
12
they
minutes.
worked.
12 minutes.
I have 19 minutes and 58 seconds.
Oh, I see 12, 11.
Either way, maybe it's 1958 for what all happened afterwards included.
No, the match doesn't start right away. They scrum outside in the stands, and
Yeah, well, I think this counts from their entrances on. That's how this one, the one I'm looking at, does. But I mean, it was a good match. I still want to, with you two, watch Wrestling with Shadows so you can see more of what was going on behind the scenes for this. I mean, if you want, I'll give you my quick, honest opinion for it. Brett should have lost no matter what. If they had to screw him to get the belt off of him, so be it. I think that it's a combination of one guy knows he's really good and is on drugs and is an arrogant prick and an asshole and
talking
knows
about
he's
Sean.
knows he's the best in the business, that being Shawn Michaels, against a guy that technically wise is better than Shawn, but is a little inside of his own head and his own ego of what Bret Hart, the character, is supposed to be, and it's just a clash between the two.
Hmm.
Do I think they could have went about this better if they actually had a discussion with Bret and them to figure out? I think
Didn't they try? Didn't Vince
I
try with
I think
Brett saying, "Hey, I want you to drop the title to
I
Shawn"?
think well, that's the problem.
It was because it was Shawn.
It's because it was Shawn, and
If it's Undertaker, we never have this
and
conversation.
Shawn never did the favor for Bret, and Shawn made it clear that he never would do the favor for Bret. Again, Shawn being the egotistical asshole that he was in the 90s, saying that he's not going to put Bret over for any reason. But I think if Vince went about it a different way, where he knew ahead of time that, I can't honor the contract we agreed to. I'm going to help you get to WCW. The Monday Night Raw before Survivor Series, Bret should have dropped the belt to Taker. He could have dropped it to Shamrock. You could have changed it right then and there. Drop it to Shamrock and then have Shawn beat Shamrock. Works for me. Because the very next month, it's Shawn and Shamrock for the world title. Spoiler alert, that's your main event for the In Your House pay-per-view in December. Either have Bret lose it to Shamrock and have Shamrock win here but lose at the DX pay-per-view that is in February or in December.
Yep.
And then Shawn has the world title headed to WrestleMania like the plan is. You could have done that easily. You didn't have to wait till the day of and put yourself in a corner where one's not going to lose to the other and you're not going to let the other one win to take the belt with him. Which I never understood that part anyway. I know back then they carried the belts with them everywhere, but you could have easily made sure you hung on to that belt when Bret left the building.
Dude, for me, I kind of agree with you to a point where Bret should have been the professional growing up in the business. I don't care. To me, I don't give a shit who you got beef to. You're leaving. You're supposed to do the honors since you are leaving.
Yes and no, because I agree with you. Like, if you're leaving, your job is to put somebody over.
The thing is, Shawn wasn't leaving the company. He was just
like the example of John Cena's going on this retirement tour. If he doesn't put people over, then his retirement tour means diddly squat. But I digress. But you said it first. Bret is a kid or guy that grew up in this business and knows what the business respect model is. And if you're not getting the respect you think you deserve from the guy you're going to give the world title to, why should I drop it? I'll drop it. I'm not dropping it to him. Why? Because nobody could control Shawn Michaels at this point. And what does Shawn do the next night on Raw? I mean, just a heads up. I mean, what'd he do? We get a midget. We get him making fun of Bret Hart.
which
Bret can't
that
defend
opening
himself.
that opening segment. I thought it was sincere. I was like, oh, are we actually gonna see? Like, I know we weren't gonna see Bret, but are we actually going to see Bret?
Yeah, but it's like, I can't drop this belt to this guy and then not be able to defend myself with the comments and statements and things he's gonna make.
Yeah.
If he'd have dropped it to Taker, or he dropped it to Shamrock, or hell, even fuck, Kane's the new guy. Have Kane come out and beat him for the world title.
Yeah, but then Kane has to hold on to it for a while, I would assume.
Well, it's better than hanging on to it for a day because you beat Austin because he bled.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you could have done something different than put yourself in the corner that you did by having to do the screw job. Do I think it was a work? Not really. I don't think it was a work. I think it definitely was a shoot. Shawn and Hunter have definitely Hunter has taken the lead of he's the guy that said, pardon my French,
If he doesn't want to do business,
yeah,
we'll do
if he doesn't
business
want to do
for him.
business, fucking, we'll do the business. I get it. I know Pat Patterson was not in the building when the finish happened. I believe his partner had died.
Oh,
I
that
think
was
that's
the
this
night.
time. I think that was this night. I could be wrong. I might have my things mixed up. I know from listening to stories, Bruce did not know this was going on. He knew
Allegedly, it was Sean, Hunter, and Vince. That was it.
Undertaker was sitting in Gorilla with Bruce because he knew something was going on.
Hmm.
Taker knew something was up, but didn't know what was going on. And when the screw job happened, Undertaker went ballistic, and Bruce took Undertaker to Vince's office,
Oh,
so
dear.
that's where that conversation could take place. Not to mention, I don't think even if you'd have let Brett win that match, I don't think somebody like the Undertaker would have left Brett leave with the world title.
You
I don't.
think 7
I
years within the company, Undertaker was already that locker room leader?
Oh yeah, by that time Taker was definitely the locker room leader.
I'm
Um,
genuinely asking because I don't know
yes.
backstage at
Oh,
that point.
without a doubt. And the lineup of people behind. I mean, you gotta remember. Let me see here. The Legion of Doom. You got the Godwins. You got Bradshaw. Yoko's still sliding around somewhere.
What is like an agent?
No, he was kind of. This was when he was up and down with his weight. He was there, but he wasn't there, and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff. Savio's there. Godfather's there. So, I mean, BKS is live and in charge. Crush is there. Crush and The Undertaker are best friends. Um,
I
up
think
until
it's funny that this wasn't the first time they had ever done this. The Netflix
no.
documentary touches on it.
Well, yeah, we had Wendy Richter, that whole thing. But that was Wendy Richter thinking she was bigger than what she was and proving that women's wrestling was not where it needed to be. And we can do without you or we can do it with you. It's your choice. I
I just
don't
think it's
blame.
funny that you get the screw job there, and then everybody's like, "Oh, Vince wouldn't do that," and he does it again.
I think the difference between the two, other than that, is the fact that Moolah made sure she pinned Wendy Richter to the mat, whether it was on her shoulders up or not. The referee just didn't look. This was, you used Brett's finish. And you let Brett set this up because when they talked about the match, Brett had this whole thing set up for Sean to reverse him into the sharpshooter. And then everybody's ears kind of perked up like that's where we'll take advantage of it. So this spot was in the match originally to keep
It's even funnier
going.
because Brett tells Sean that he has the hold wrong.
Yeah, and then Vince calls for the bell.
So obviously they must have told Hebner at some point.
Oh, he probably told him on the way out, when I tell you to ring the damn bell, ring the bell. That's, I mean, that's the truth.
Because they say it was just the three of them that knew, but obviously the ref had to have some idea.
I think
Yeah, I would.
like what Ryan
Well,
said, they probably told
Vince is also at ringside yelling, "Ring the damn bell!" So Earl could have heard him and yelled to the referee to ring the
and
bell.
then Earl got out of there.
Oh yeah, he
Oh, fat.
says
Because wasn't
ring
he
the
friends
bell
with
and
Brett?
he is gone. Well, he knew the family, the Hart family for years, and wanted to be nowhere near all that. But we
Why
get the screw job. And he does the screw job the very next year in Survivor Series as just a story angle with Mankind. It becomes a thing. It's notorious with professional wrestling. It's notorious with the World Wrestling Federation or World WWE as far as anytime they go to Montreal and Shawn Michaels is in the ring, it's you screwed Brett, you screwed Brett. That's the way it's going to be for the rest of time.
Hit the Hitman music and just tease them and make fun of them with it.
Yeah, it's Montreal. So,
Lord knows they're full of Molson.
yeah, let's move on along. I think we're getting a little bit behind here. November 10th. Oops. November 10th, 1997, Monday Night Nitro from the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee.
No dark matches. Dave Taylor and Steven Regal defeat Harlem Heat. Chris Jericho defeats Disco Inferno. Glacier defeats the Barbarian. Yuji Nagata with Sonny Ono defeats Alex Wright with Queen Deborah. I think I made a note about this. Sonny Ono kisses Deborah here and like throws money at her.
Nice.
Kind of a weird spot. Deborah was clearly pissed as she socked him. Saturn defeats Benoit to retain. Guerrero defeats Ray to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Ray Trailer defeats Savage with Miss Elizabeth by referee decision. AKA Savage cheated. DDP defeats Kurt Hennig by DQ in a U.S. Championship match. Luger defeats Ric Flair by DQ. Notes. November 10th Nitro notes. Yes, the NWO come out to kick off the night. Kevin Nash returns. They tease a Bret Hart debut that he's joined the NWO.
Is this when they all come out with Canadian flags?
Yes, it is.
And they sing "Oh Canada."
Oh my God. Oh, never do that again. That was bad. That was perfect tries, and that was the best they got at it. And no. Raven has an odd interaction with Scotty Riggs. After the Barbarian and Glacier match, Ming takes Glacier out. Jimmy Hart had returned here. He had been gone, hadn't seen him since Kevin Taskmaster left. And Jimmy Hart returns here. Ming ends up putting Glacier in the Tongan death grip to close the segment. Raven apologizes to Scotty Riggs, says he's here to collect and help all like the abused, bullied, disenfranchised wrestler. A nipple-pierced Van Hammer joins Raven's flock. He's also got some weird hair things going on and fishnet. And yeah. Oh, yeah. There's the, I hadn't made note of the Sonny Ono Deborah kiss. That was weird. To end the night, Hogan and Bischoff call out Sting. Sting comes out and the NWO swarm him and take him out. It was originally just Bischoff and Hogan in the ring. Sting comes out and then they all appear out of nowhere and just destroy him. That's going to become a running theme for NWO the rest of the month. Just absolutely annihilating everyone. But that's the notes I had for the November 10th Nitro.
Awesome.
Good amount of time on the matches. I mean, the one I'm looking at doesn't have the matches, but again, it's WCW. They give their matches the time they deserve for the most part.
I'm kind of intrigued with Eddie beating Ray for the Cruiserweight title right after Eddie lost the Cruiserweight title to him only like 2 weeks ago.
And Malenko gets involved.
I'm wondering if this is a Eddie or a Ray knee injury time or not.
No, because Ray's competing the whole rest of the month, even in World War III. Right. Actually, he has one of his cool, almost saves himself moments in World War III.
That we'll get to that when we get. Remind me of that when we get to World War III, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. Monday Night Raw, November the 10th, live from the Coryell Center.
Sure, still spelt wrong.
Since they spell it wrong.
It starts with Rick Rude hitting the ring, introducing DX, and that's where Shawn Michaels goes into the I take full responsibility over everything that happened last night, but we are going to clear the air tonight, myself and Bret Hart, and it's either going to end in a handshake or it's going to end in a fight. Like I said before, oh crap, kind of thought we were going to get something. Wrong. I was wrong.
Bret was supposed to be on that show, correct?
No.
I always thought the way they talked about it, that he had talked about dropping the belt the next night on Raw. Like he was still under contract.
That's what he wanted to.
Well, he wasn't He wasn't under contract. He agreed to drop it the next night on Raw, which I don't understand. That is the one thing I don't understand about that whole story, about that part. The pay-per-view's not in Canada, or is not in Calgary,
But it's in Canada.
and the next night on Raw is not in Calgary, but they're both in Canada. So you didn't want to lose the title, drop the belt in your home country on the pay-per-view, but you'll agree to come to Raw the next night and drop the belt.
Where's this? What city?
This is in Ottawa.
Ottawa. Come on, Canadian. You should know where everything is up there.
So, like, I don't want to drop it in my home country on pay-per-view, but I'll drop it in my home country on Raw?
Yeah, but there is a difference. Montreal is like one of the biggest and well-known cities in all of Canada. I could see that.
But that's not what he said. He said, I didn't want to lose it in my home country.
On a
but
pay-per-view.
I'll lose it in my home country on TV, where more people are going to see it? Made no sense to me. Never did. Though every time that's brought up, it made absolutely no sense to me. I would understand if Raw the next night was in the States, then drop it. But if they're both in Canada, how can you claim you'll drop it the next night on Raw when they're still in Canada?
Well, it is the building that has seen the most Canadian success of anywhere else ever.
It made no sense. I mean, hell, he could have dropped it in Vermont and it was still Canada. Anyway, so what's your opening contest?
Love it.
Ahmed Johnson defeats Mark Marrow by disqualification in 2 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say without watching the match that Mark Marrow punched Ahmed Johnson in the nuts.
in the dick,
And that's what I figured.
and then he gets in Butterbean's face
Ooh, interesting.
because Butterbean is at ringside.
And another light heavyweight championship quarterfinal match, Taka Michinoku
Bless
defeated
you.
Devin Storm. Devin Storm goes on in WCW to become Crowbar later on. The Headbangers defeated the Truth Commission, Recon and Sniper in 448. The New Age Outlaws, now being called the New Age Outlaws, not being called Road Dogg and Billy, defeated Bradshaw in a handicap bunkhouse brawl match, which is basically a Western street fight.
Bradshaw kicked the absolute living shit out of both of them
Did he clothesline him from hell?
multiple times, and the big boot he gave Billy Gunn was probably the prettiest big boot I've ever seen in my life.
I love this version of Bradshaw, because it's very Stan Hansen oriented.
And I think JR mentioned Stan Hansen.
I'm gonna rip your head off with this clothesline and see how far I can knock it in, how many rows I can knock it into.
He also hit Road Dogg with a chair shot to the head that probably could have went as far as a Barry Bonds home run.
Nice. This next match kind of makes me laugh because I know the friendship between the two of them, and it's just kind of funny. The Undertaker and Kama Mustafa fought to a no contest in 2 minutes and 19 seconds. If you haven't had a chance yet, I will give a throwback or a throw out here. If you had not had a chance to catch up on the Undertaker's podcast, he had Godfather on it a couple of weeks ago. Is great. He's had the Godwins on it. It's been fantastic. It's a really fun listen. I think he's had a couple of had some actors on there recently. I know one I need to catch up on is he had Omos on there. I'm going to try to catch up on that one this week. But the 6 Feet Under podcast is becoming one of my favorite podcasts here of late.
Yeah, I gotta get into that because I kind of just listened to CVV.
And then the main event, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Sean in China, and Shamrock fought to a no contest. So both shows on the same night end. TJ's WCW ends in 2 disqualifications to end the night, and Raw ends with 2 no contests to end the night. Not really good for either one of you.
Yeah, well, they kind of knock out the ref, and while Triple H is tapping out to Shamrock's ankle lock, Shawn Michaels comes down, grabs the briefcase, and smacks it up against Shamrock's back, and then they go off the air while Slaughter is yelling at the whole part of DX except Triple H, because Triple H is still laying in the ring.
Gotcha. So we're gonna go back over to the other show. November the 17th, 1997, Monday Night Nitro, live from the Crown in Cincinnati, Ohio. Your opening contest is Ming defeats Glacier. Alex Wright with Queen Deborah defeats Mongo by disqualification. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Chris Jericho.
Good match. Jericho had the upper hand 95% of that match. Stole the victory, Mysterio did.
Gotcha. Diamond Dallas Page defeats Viano 5. It's kind of funny you take him out of the main event and you give him the Viano. Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko end in a double countout for the Cruiserweight title. Saturn retains the television title against Scotty Riggs.
I think Eddie or Dean, something with Ray comes out and throws that match all off.
Okay. Is this... Oh, I'm trying to look. This Scotty Riggs is still the American male Scotty Riggs, correct?
Well, he's got an eye patch because he got an eye patch because he got injured by Raven in a chair.
Yeah.
Which is what Raven was apologizing for.
For the second time in 3 weeks, Lex Luger defeats Kurt Hennig by disqualification for the U.S. title. And then in your main event, the Giant defeats Scott Hall by disqualification.
Not going to mention that a certain somebody else shows up on that show.
I'm letting him. He's the one.
I got my notes, dog.
Okay.
The night begins with a recap of the beatdown of Sting from that closed the last Nitro. Out comes the NWO. Hall taunts Sabisco because, well, they still haven't agreed to the match that they both, at least Larry wants. It seems like Hall doesn't want to murder him, but yet, yeah. Nash wants a match with the Steiners. I love how he calls them the Einsteiners all the time.
Wait a minute. What was you saying about Hall and Zabisco?
Larry Zbyszko and Hall are setting up a match. Zbyszko wants the match, has a contract. Hall won't sign it.
And then what was your comment after that?
Something about Hall didn't want to hurt him. Something about they had went and they'd looked at matches, and as fast as Larry could go, he still couldn't hold a weight to Hall.
I thought you were stating that, but if Hall said it, okay.
No, not me. Not me. I love what Larry's been doing.
People forget who Larry Zbyszko is.
Nash wants a match with the Einsteiners. He then also shoots on the Giant, who's been calling him out. Bischoff promises a surprise. He brings out Hogan, followed by Rick Rude. Comes out and
what are you doing here?
Absolutely, is on Bret Hart's side, how he got screwed. He doesn't appreciate any of that. Totally backs the NWO side of things.
Well, that's why Rick Rude left the WWF, is because he didn't agree with the screw job. Also, I think you're going to see in the next couple of weeks, Crush is also one of the ones that leave, along with Bulldog and along with Anvil. They're the ones that leave WWF because they don't agree with the screw job and end up on WCW television before too long.
Wow. I'm surprised with Neidhart after... Never mind, we'll talk about it.
And then Owen stays. Crazy. A little while later, we get Mean Gene interviewing Ray Traylor. He says he's going to refocus on taking down the NWO, who immediately come out, jump him and destroy him, spray paint him. A little while later, Larry, as he's talking to Bischoff about, trying to get Hall to sign the match, Larry gets jumped by the NWO and gets taken out, injured. We don't see him till after World War III. The Steiners and Millionaire Ted, a little while later, on their way to the ring, get jumped again by the NWO. You see a theme here?
That if you're not with the NWO, you're going to get your ass kicked?
Well, the pay-per-view's this weekend. This is the go-home show. Okay, I maybe forgot to mention that this is the go home show. The end of the night, the Giant gets jumped by the NWO, and finally, as the Giant's getting jumped, the WCW roster has had enough, and they come out to take on the NWO and save the Giant. Shut up, dog. I know it's frustrating. Took them this long for the WCW to do something. I hear you.
Word.
The show closes with the announcer saying World War III has come early. Yeah, I mean, like, did nobody have a conversation? Hey guys, if you're getting jumped by the NWO, I'll come save you. I mean, like 5 freaking times this night it happens. Ay, ay, ay. So that would be why everybody's match ends in disqualification because, well, the NWO just murdered them. They're trying to get the upper hand for World War III, which is
And
Sunday.
speaking of World War III,
Doesn't AJ? Did we already do AJ's Nitro Raw?
oh, we did, didn't we? Did we not?
Oh, we gotta do 17.
Oh yeah, November the 17th, Monday Night Raw, live from Cornwall, Ontario, at the Civic Complex. Is there
Still
a
haven't left Canada.
Is there a French way to say complex? Because I mean, they can't say center, right? I'm figuring there's a different way to say complex.
No, they say center.
Complex.
They just spell it Centra.
Complex. But before the first
Hell,
match
y'all
of the
left it
night,
down.
we kind of had an impromptu fight. Steve Austin calls out The Rock, but I think it's Farouk or it's Kama Mustafa that comes down and starts fighting with Steve Austin. And while that's going on, The Rock comes through the ring, outside the other side of the ring, grabs the IC title, and then just books it backstage, and then follow the rest of the Nation of Domination with that.
Interesting.
But
All right, so your first match, I'll run through matches. You give me your notes. Jerry Lawler defeats Mark Marrow. That's pretty bad at disqualification. I'm gonna say that Marrow punches him in the nuts again.
yep, and Sable
Yep.
has the biggest black eye that I've seen in a long time,
Yeah, this is when they start the DV
where she gets kicked
angle.
by a horse.
Yeah, that don't really like this angle.
No, neither do I.
The New Age Outlaws
Hold on,
defeat.
time out.
What?
Vince has his first part of.
I was gonna get to that.
Well, this is part 1, and it happens before.
Oh,
the
that's
next
right. They
match.
did it in like 2 or 3 parts.
Yeah,
didn't
they did it in 2 parts.
They did it before they went to commercial breaks.
And
Go ahead.
oh boy, does this open up a lot when it comes to what the mindset of Vince McMahon as a person and a booker. As we've all heard, I did not screw Bret Hart. Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart. And then in the second portion, because we'll just knock it out now, the second portion of that interview, JR asked him, would you want Bret Hart back in the WWF? And he gave 3 or 4 demands that would have to be met before he would even entertain bringing Bret Hart back. But all Vince does in this interview is bury Bret a little bit more and talk about the reasons why he did what he did.
Yeah, this is the start of the Mr. McMahon character that we all knew. It's kind of funny though, they went from Sable with a black eye to Vince with a black eye. Only one of them was real though.
Guessing Vince's was real.
Yeah.
I was afraid to say the wrong one there.
the
Although I'm
New
kind
Age-
of surprised he had a black eye when he got uppercutted.
I don't really think
that's the other part that makes sense.
I don't think he got uppercutted. I think he got hooked.
Brett said he could only land an uppercut.
And
Yeah,
guess
that's what
what?
I'm
Vince says something else. Shane says something else.
Yeah. The New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg defeat Los Boricuas, Miguel and Savio in a no contest in 44 seconds. I'm gonna guess Kane.
No.
Oh wow.
Shoot. Hold on.
It should have been a Kane angle.
It should have, but it looks like the match really doesn't get started.
Just doesn't get started.
Yeah, it gets
Uh,
going, and then it just all hell breaks loose.
Here comes one of TJ's favorite things. a 6-man. Shouldn't it be a 3-man tag team match?
This one's Kane.
But it's 6 minis. Doesn't that make it like a 3-man tag team match?
This one's Kane though. And all the mini people are
Yeah, we have Max Mini, Mini Taurus, and Mini Nova versus El Torito, Tarantula, and the Battalion. Ends in a no contest with Sonny as the special guest referee.
well,
How
she
many of
she
them?
always
How
is.
many of them stacked on the other one's shoulders would it take to reach Kane's height?
At least 4.
And it's funny because Kane's music hits and they all book it out of the ring and hide behind Jim Cornette at the commentary table. And Jim Cornette's got the Wilson racket. It was like, you guys are on your own.
So think about this. This is how the WWE makes people hate Kane more than anything. You're
Goes-
gonna give us something fun and entertaining like the minis matches, and you're gonna give us Sonny and spandex, and then you're gonna have Kane come out and ruin all of it. Yeah, I don't like Kane.
Oh, next you have Triple H and Shawn Michaels out in the ring. Um, they're basically bitching about everything, that they're ruling the world and that nobody can touch them. And here comes Sergeant Slaughter, says, "No, you have a match with Ken Shamrock." And I think they end up giving the match to, no, maybe it's next week, to Triple H. But holy cow, they beat the absolute living crap out of Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah. When do we get your rude segment?
My rude segment? That was last week. Oh, that. Hold on. Yeah, that was last week. We don't.
I
We
thought
get-
it was the 17th.
We get the fake rude. The next one, the next
Okay.
Raw.
So that's basically WWE taking a shot at Rude for that. Okay, gotcha. Scott Taylor defeated Eric Shelley. That was another quarterfinal.
And they were talking to
Match
Jeff Jarrett
for
on the
light
phone the
heavyweight
whole
match?
time.
Yeah, way to bury the lead. Dude Love is back, and he defeats Rocky Maivia by disqualification in 4 minutes and 22 seconds.
So what did they do to get disqualified?
I'm looking.
I'm gonna imagine they beat the shit out of Mick Foley because that's what everybody does.
Not Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Oh yeah. As Mick Foley's about to win with the sweet shin music and into a DDT, the Nation of Domination hit the ring and absolutely destroy Mick Foley.
And this is also when The Rock comes out wearing the Intercontinental title after taking the title from Stone Cold.
Yep.
So that creates this whole story with Rock and Austin and the IC title. Your dark match is Ahmed Johnson. It's kind of funny because didn't you say Ahmed Johnson and Steve Austin were beating the shit out of each other a couple weeks ago?
They were about to.
Yeah. Well, now they're teaming because it's Ahmed Johnson, Steve Austin, The Undertaker, and Vader defeat the Nation of Domination in an 8-man tag team match. So you'll have that. Moving on. So, World War III, live from Auburn Hills, Michigan, in the Palace of Auburn Hills. 17,128 people in attendance. The tagline, 60 warriors, 3 rings, 1 survivor. You do the math. Didn't you just do the math by breaking it down for us? Great tagline. No sponsors for WCW events. I could see why.
Hey, I'll have you know, for the Nitros, they've been sponsored by their video game on PlayStation and Risk, the
Great.
board game about global domination.
So
Never played it.
it's dictated that the pre-match stipulation to World War III is that whoever wins the Battle Royal will receive their World Championship title match at Super Brawl in February. So you win it in November, you don't get a shot at it until February.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
because
you
Hogan already has a
it's
match the
kind of
next
funny.
month.
It kind of left it open for you knew there was if you really sat back and thought about it, they left it open for them to be something out of Starrcade was going to be screwed up because you didn't give him the sold out pay per view in January for the title shot. It was Super Brawl. Just saying. Anyhow,
Kind of interesting though that nobody's making light of the fact that Piper's the champion.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, clearly neither did they, because
First,
he didn't win the cage match.
First match of the night is the Faces of Fears defeat Glacier and Ernest the Cat Miller in a tag team match, 9 minutes and 9 seconds. Saturn defeats Disco Inferno by submission in a return match for the television title at 8 minutes and 19 seconds. I can tell you without a doubt that the Rings of Saturn is probably one of the most painful submission moves I've ever
It
put in
looks
my
it.
life.
It looks
It
it.
hurts. Just for the newer person people, AJ like yourself, the Rings of Saturn. Remember when Batista used to use a submission move? It would call it the Beast Bite. It's the same move. It really hurts.
I don't remember
Your,
Batista ever using a submission move.
your third match is Yuji Nagata with Sonny Ono
Let's see.
defeating Ultimo Dragon. 12 minutes and 45 seconds. For the WCW World Tag Team Championships, the Einsteiners defeat the Blue Bloods of Squire David Taylor and Lord Steven Regal in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Raven with Lodi, Kidman, Saturn, and Hammer defeated Scotty Riggs in a Ravens rules match, which basically means there's no disqualifications. He can do whatever he wants. Steve McMichael gets the payback on Alex Wright, beating him in 3 minutes and 36 seconds.
It was supposed to be Goldberg. Mongo took Goldberg out before Goldberg could get to the ring and took his ring back. Because Goldberg had his Super Bowl ring.
It's just interesting to know that Goldberg was a heel when he first debuted.
Well, is he though? Because Mongo takes him out with a lead pipe and steals back the ring that Deborah paid Goldberg. And then says, I'll take on anybody. And who comes out but Alex Wright with Deborah?
Goldberg aligned himself with Deborah first, making him a heel. Eddie Guerrero defeated Rey Mysterio to keep the Cruiserweight title. Kurt Hennig defeated Ric Flair in a no disqualification match to retain the United States Championship. And then we have the 60-man
I have notes for this if you want to just not kill the
60-man battle royal goes 29 minutes and 48 seconds.
Oof.
And your competitors are Chris Adams, Brad Armstrong, Buff Bagwell, The Barbarian, Chris Benoit, Bobby Blaze, Booker T, Cyclope, Damien, El Dande, Barry Darso, Disco Inferno, Jim Duggan, Fit Finley, Hector Garza, The Giant, Glacier, Johnny Grunge, Juventud Guerrera, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Hennig, Prince Iakea, Chris Jericho, Liz Mark Jr., Lex Luger, Dean Malenko, Steve Mango McMichael, Ming, Ernest Miller, Rey Mysterio Jr., Hugh Morris, Mortis, Eugene Agata, The Barbarian John Nord, Diamond Dallas Page, La Parka, Lord Steven Regal, The Renegade, Rocco Rock, Randy Savage, Silver King, Scott Hall, Norman Smiley, Louis Spicoli, Rick and Scott Steiner, Stevie Ray, Super Callow, Dave Taylor, Ray Traylor, Ultimo Dragon, Greg the Hammer Valentine, TJ's favorite Mexican tag team, Viano 4 and 5, Vincent, Kendall Windham, Wrath, Alex Wright, and your last entry because he doesn't enter until the end of the match, Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
no Kevin Nash.
No
No Goldberg.
Nash. Well, Goldberg wasn't in the name
I
yet.
can't believe he went through all 60.
Wasn't gonna. Good on Fry for that.
Now I'm afraid Fry's gonna go through every elimination.
Oh God,
No,
please
it's not
don't.
here. Well, if you watch it, they can't even keep track on who did
No,
elimination.
the Giant throws out 5 guys to be. I couldn't even remember. I think
how,
it was both
how do they do this
Villanos.
match with the 3 rings?
It's
They're
20
like-
guys. It's 20 guys in 3 rings, and the rings
And
are set up.
they're offset
with-
each other.
Yeah, there's one in the center of the arena, and then off of the back 2 ring post is where 1 and 2 ring is.
And there's enough space that you can step between them. So like
Yeah,
they're not.
and
It's like a
there's-
third of the ring is overlapping.
They guardrail it off so that there's like a pit of fans in between the back 2 rings.
And a walkway on the camera side.
The rules of the match are, it's not like the Royal Rumble where you have to go over the top rope and both feet hit the floor. If you're thrown to the floor, you are eliminated.
I did,
they-
I had to
they-
ask you
I
about this
think they- I
pre-show
think
because
they
Johnny
changed the-
Grunge goes through and
They-
not over, and I was
They
kind of like,
changed- They changed this pay-per-view happens 4 times, and I think they change the rules every single time.
I'd like to see this done now, now that we have a lot better technology. I think this would be interesting to see it done now, because like they don't have the camera angle. Like they've got a camera right on them. They don't have cameras around, where I think now with today's setup, it would be a lot more interesting to see this match done with all the camera angles we have.
It would be cool, but you're never going to see it again.
Well, no, I don't. It was more of a could I build it in the video game?
Look at all those seats that didn't get bought because they put 3 rings in the arena. That's why we'll never see it again.
Well, I was thinking if you did this in a place like Saudi, where the arena's way bigger than it needs to be.
Well, I agree, but they did the greatest Royal Rumble improved, that we don't need to have 3 rings that give you 50 wrestlers.
Well, no, but just all at once. You know what I mean?
It is
Explain the concept, because I'm still lost with the 3 rings.
all 60 guys start in the rings.
Yeah,
20, 20, and 20.
Okay.
Yeah, how it's supposed to work is once, I think it's
You're down
5,
to 5.
Down to 5. See, like the first year, it's when there's only 10 left in a ring, and it's kind of stupid. Of this concept is when the ring gets down to 5 wrestlers, then that ring is done. Okay, and then everybody is supposed to funnel into the first ring, which is the center ring, for the World War III Battle Royal to continue. So it never really made sense to me how I'm supposed to stop and wait to move in the ring 1. They don't. Then they finally got it where they just moved them to ring 1. I don't remember how they ever came up with who's in what ring, but like he said, the Giant comes out and literally cleans out his ring in literally the first 5 minutes of the match.
This sounds like a crappy take on like a Royal Rumble.
Well, it's a
It
battle
wasn't
royal.
bad. It was actually fun to watch.
It's a battle royal. Battle royals are always fun to watch.
Especially with the mass of bodies that start.
Yeah.
Especially when somebody gets eliminated that isn't supposed to, and they go with Plan B.
Or they don't get eliminated when they're supposed to, and Nick Patrick has to yell at both members of Public Enemy to get the fuck out of the ring.
Yeah, that did happen on this one. It was a cool concept. I enjoyed the first one. The first one, of course, they made it big, which was 1995. That's right after they vacated the world title after Halloween Havoc with Hogan and Giant. And you get Macho Man becomes the world champion because he wins it. But Hogan was pulled out underneath the bottom rope by the Giant, which everybody interpreted the rules that you were supposed to be thrown over the top rope. Hence why they nixed that for this year's one. And 96's, I think, was also nixed that way. You were talking about Rey Mysterio and his eliminations. Rey, the year before this one, is literally the last WCW guy left against the new the newer. It was literally Hall, Nash, Giant, Six. I think that was it. There may have been somebody else with
Maybe
him.
Vincent.
I don't think Vincent was in on it. He may have already been eliminated. But literally, it was down to those guys versus Ray and Lex Luger. They were the final two WCW guys. And
Ray
it's
tried to
also-
hold on to the side of the ring in this. Like he got
Yeah,
out, but he was holding on, and it didn't look like it worked.
the one before this one is also iconic for Ray because this is where Ray debuted his Spider-Man look. Ray's original Spider-Man gear was amazing. The mask was red, had the Spider-Man look, and then he had blue pants on. It was very iconic and very wanted in the video games and stuff at this time. This after this one, it kind of loses.
There's only one more.
Yeah, the last one of War Games is, in my opinion, god awful.
I did
But-
after watching this one, I wanted to go back and watch the other three, just this match of it, just to see how they all worked.
Yeah.
Year to year, because I mean, like I said, that and Mass of Bodies, I was like, ooh, this is probably gonna be fun. I want to watch this, and it wasn't bad to watch.
It's kind of funny to
Um,
watch the first one because a lot of people get hurt and like they have to come out with stretchers some people out
They
because they got
mentioned that.
really hurt.
I did have 2 notes from this show. Apparently, the Giant had broken his thumb from the Nitro previous.
Uh-huh.
And JJ Dillon informs us that if Raven doesn't sign a WCW contract in 24 hours, he will be barred from the WCW. The other couple notes all pertain to the thing. The Giant and Ming were the last 2 in their ring. They didn't even get down to 5. It was the 2 of them. And the Giant tosses him before they even move rings. The one ring was the 5 NWO guys in it, which was Vincent, Hall, Six, Buff.
Six is not in the match.
Was it? Maybe it wasn't Six.
It would have
then.
been Vincent, Randy, Buff. And there's not any more NWO guys.
I don't know. There was 5 of them, regardless. And then it's just kind of weird. The last man thrown out of the middle ring is Booker T. Yet Stevie Ray was still in the thing and didn't save him because it was Luger, DDP, Stevie Ray, Rick Steiner, and then the NWO won't go to the middle ring. They make them come to them, which they do, and eventually it comes down to Luger, the Giant, and Hall, that's when Hogan comes out. So it kind of becomes like a 2-on-2 thing. And then Sting comes out, and Sting is a fucking giant again.
Is this my favorite Sting?
This is Sting that's all of a sudden gained a foot of height.
I figured out what we're gonna call this Sting. This Sting is Super Sting.
So Super Sting comes out.
Like he was the Super Shredder years ago. Now he comes out as Super Sting.
Super Sting comes out and helps Hall win the match, scares Hogan out of the ring, takes the bat and knocks the Giant out of the ring, and Hall's the sole survivor.
I love his reveal.
And he pulls the mask, he goes,
because
hey!
he flips it up and he's got this shit-eating grin on his face like, ha ha, gotcha. You're a 7-foot Sting. I had you figured out from the moment you walked
And you don't
out.
even have the same hair color.
Morons.
So Hall wins with help from Nash, who was supposed to be in the match and wasn't. Because Hogan comes out. What? I mean, I guess at least Hogan didn't win, but what would they have done if it would have came down to Hall and Hogan? Would they just had Hogan win?
Probably.
I'm so confused.
We got one more of each. Let's rock this.
James, those are called Funko Pop figures, and I have about 125 of them. That's not all of them in my background.
They're all fake, James.
No, they're not.
The picture behind you is fake.
Oh, yeah, the picture behind me's a picture of them.
And they're not all still there like that anyway, because you got flooded.
No, that was where I put them all.
After the flood?
Yeah,
Oh. Oh.
they're about 4.5 feet off the ground now.
James, he doesn't have a life.
Oh,
just
I have a
call it-
wife.
I said
He said life.
Oh,
and he just collects Funkos.
yeah, I am an iRacing broadcaster during the first part of the week, and then I'm a podcaster at the end of part of the week. He's not wrong.
I just have some wrestling stuff over here. Say hi to Cody and Dustin and Dusty and
Oh,
all the
so
Hulk Hogan.
Ah,
And look,
Ichiban, number
look,
one in Japan.
I have Funkos as well. See, I've got 4 really good ones. 2 Macho Mans and 2 Hulk Hogans.
I just have
my
2
virtual-
wrestling ones.
I have my virtual background on. Otherwise, I could show
And
you
I'm
my
not
little
sure.
cool merch
I think
behind me.
I think the NWO one I have is packed away.
But you also have a really good $300 piece of memorabilia somewhere over there.
Yeah, it's actually been talked about by the wife that we need to ship that. So I guess that means
I
it's
like her
finally time to
thinking.
ship it.
Or she's gonna
So-
throw it out.
I like her thinking.
But I digress. Yeah. So back to this. November the 24th, I think is the last one. Yes.
Yep.
There's
This is it. It's December next. The next one will be December 1st.
Monday Night Raw live from.
It's Harvey Whippleman playing the role as Rick Rude.
Is it Harvey Whipple?
That's what it says. Harvey Whippleman enters the ring as handsome Harvey to introduce Degeneration
Bruno.
X.
That's the Rock Bruno, from Young Rock when he talks about Bruno.
Yeah.
That's Harvey Whippleman. We are live, or nope, it is live. November the 24th from the Cumberland County Memorial Auditorium in Fayetteville, North Kakalaki.
I think they actually say it like that too.
We have in our opening contest, we have the New Age Outlaws defeat the Legion of Doom.
Whoa. We can't go into our match yet because
Oh.
DX hits the ring and they go into Brett. Basically, screw you, Brett. And Jim the Anvil Neidhart comes out and they go back and forth he goes back and forth with Sean, and Sean goes, "So where's Brett at home? Where's Bulldog getting knee surgery?" And Brett goes, "I know something about fake knee surgeries." And then where's Owen? Owen is so distraught that because of what happened in Montreal. Oh, so what you're saying is Brett's gone, Owen's a bitch, and Bulldog is getting a fake knee surgery. So now it's time for you to step up. You have to the end of Raw tonight to join Degeneration X, or we are going to kick the crap out of you. DJ, why do you look like you're about to die?
What?
You're like,
I was just taking in the sights and sounds of November 24th Raw.
and basically Neidhart leaves the stage doing like and then walks to
So
the
he's
back.
contemplating it.
Yeah, very much so. Now you could start with the Billy Gunn and Road Dogg defeating the Legion of Doom. This was a fantastic match that could have easily have gone either way, and I would have been happy. But I love how LOD was about to win, and then out of nowhere, here comes Billy Gunn with a chair right across the back as they're about to go for the Doomsday device.
Yes.
And that's how is it Hawk that usually jumps off the top rope?
Yes.
He sees the chair shot hits, he comes over, throws Billy Gunn out of the ring, and by the time all that happens, it's already 1, 2, 3 via a roll up.
Gotcha.
From being on his shoulders.
I don't like that there was no build to the title change though. That's the one thing I don't like. But this isn't. This is still shock value. It's a swerve, bro. Wrestling.
And they were pissed. LOD beat the shit out of Tim Weiss.
Yeah, this
Or
was
Tim White.
This was still will Swerve on Bro time period. He hasn't gone to WCW yet, so he changed titles around like everybody changed his underwear. Your next match in a qualifying match for the light heavyweight title tournament or quarterfinal match, Brian Christopher,
Fuck that guy.
AJ's favorite person on Raw, with Jerry the King Lawler, defeated Flash Flanagan in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. This must have been a short Raw or a lot of segments.
A lot of segments because we have a very long Sergeant Slaughter coming out of retirement.
Okay, we won't go into
Segment.
all that. But Bulldog, basically, he's coming out of retirement because he's gonna face Triple H. That starts that whole feud. Ken Shamrock defeated Savio Vega in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And in the main event, Shawn Michaels with China, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and Triple H defeat Vader in 3 minutes. And then after the match,
Boom!
Shawn Michaels and them say, "Nah, you're not a part of DX," and they take out Jim Neidhart and write WCW on his back, kind of like the NWO does. Remember,
Yeah.
I told you, click north, click south, spray paint. Neidhart is one of the guys that's leaving. This was his. He was still under contract, and this was a way for him to get out of his contract was to be at this Raw. So it was basically show up at this Raw, do what we want you to do, and we'll let you out of your contract.
Well,
So
we're gonna abuse the fuck out of you.
So they humiliated him on national television.
I thought it would have been a cool, even further heel turn for Jim to go with DX after everything that happened.
But he was leaving.
But I didn't know that watching it.
Yeah. But I mean, think about it though. If you think about Neidhart in the Hart Foundation, and then think about it, if he'd have been in DX,
Mhm.
you almost forget that Neidhart was in this version of the Hart Foundation because he very, very, very seldomly wrestled. I like when we go through results and I see that he actually wrestled, it was like, I bet if you watch that match, he's never in the match.
I mean, him and Brett were tag team champions like 5 or 6 years prior, and
Well, they were tag champs. This is 97. They were tag champs in 90.
yeah.
But I'm talking about on this version of the Hart Foundation. If you would have, some of these matches that is tag matches that like Bulldog and like 6-man matches and stuff.
Yeah.
I can almost bet you he's probably, if he's in the ring, it's a maximum of 3 minutes total.
That because he's
matches,
so out of shape, or
he just wasn't he was never the lead guy in the Hart Foundation. It was kind of always, hey, yeah, that Rhino, he's just gonna lay back and he's gonna help everybody.
He's the muscle.
That's what you got. Anything for the big Rhino? That's
who are
what Stu
you
always
making
called
fun
Jim.
of there?
That's what Stu always called
Oh,
Neidhart when Neidhart would be looking for a job, he'd call Vince and be like, yeah, Vince, you got anything for the big Rhino? That's just basically the same thing. But yeah, this was Vince's way to humiliate Neidhart so he could get out of his contract so he could go to WCW and get paid more money and be happy. Because I would almost bet you that he got paid more money to go to Nitro, and then that made Brett richer, which probably then made the Outsiders richer, which probably made Hulk Hogan richer. Because they all had that contract where you couldn't bring somebody in that got more money than them. If you brought them in with more money, that means you had to pay everybody else more money.
and Turner had more money than God.
$1 billion Ted.
But I just watching it, not knowing any of that back stuff like you, Ryan. I was like, that'd be cool. And then when he came out with him, I was like, that's kind of how he gets away from the Hart Foundation and turns it even more of a heel. And then the nutshot, I was like, okay, I should have saw that coming.
I can remember watching this as a kid and knowing that he is. I remember I may have been watching this with my dad at that point, and I remember just looking at my dad going, he is gonna get annihilated at some point.
He is not long for this world.
There's no way he's staying with DX. He has no personality to stay with DX.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we'll jump to Nitro so we can get out of here. November the 24th, 1997, Monday Night Nitro, live from Saginaw Civic Center in Saginaw, Michigan. Saginaw, Michigan. Jeez, it's good.
I wonder if a lot of women up there are Saginaw.
All I can ever think every time I hear Saginaw is, did either of you ever watch Home Improvement? The Tim Allen show.
I know what it is, but I've never
Tools.
seen it.
But they had an advertisement for Tool Time, and it was Saginaw cheese. Cheese, it's good. And every once in a while, I'll say that, and Lonnie will go look at me and go, "What the hell are you thinking?" I was like, I don't know. It just popped in my head.
Just gotta give me some Binford tools and go work on my truck.
Yeah. So your main event or your matches start off with the Einsteiners, because I'm going to call them that from now on, even though I love the Steiner brothers. Defeated Disorderly Conduct, Mean Mike, and Tom Tough to retain the WCW tag titles in roughly 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Booker T with Jacqueline defeated Ming with Jimmy Hart in 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Chris Benoit defeated Sick Boy in 3 minutes and 36 seconds. I can safely say that this is one of the only times I've ever seen that Sick Boy was in a match. Prince Iakea defeated Alex Wright with Queen Deborah in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Somebody hit the glass break.
Did you say 3 minutes?
Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth defeated the Disco Inferno.
All right, I got the countdown.
In 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Add a minute to it, and you got 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Dean Malenko defeated Brad Armstrong. That's, in case you guys did not know, Brad Armstrong is the Road Dogg's brother. They are brothers. They're both very good wrestlers. Brad Armstrong is by far one of the best.
Was he ever in WWE?
No. 5 minutes and 27 seconds. Buff Bagwell defeats Chris Jericho in 6 minutes and 58 seconds.
I got a big Jericho note for this.
I'm gonna be shocked if Ray Traylor defeated Kurt Hennig by disqualification to retain the United States Championship. And then in the main event, the Giant defeats Hollywood Hulk Hogan by, you guessed it, disqualification, so Hulk Hogan retains the world title. That's now every episode of Nitro for the month of November ends in back-to-back disqualifications to end the night. That is not going to win you a month, my friend.
I tried saying at the top of the show.
Sorry.
I'm screwed.
I can say that honestly.
So what you're saying, November was a screw job?
We're tied.
WCW screwed me.
This is horrible. I'm going to look, but I believe it is literally every single.
Just about. Maybe not the first week.
The week before. Well, no. Yeah. Let's see. That was double DQ. The week before, Giant and Hall disqualification. Luger and Hennig disqualification. The 10th. Diamond Dallas Page defeats Kurt Hennig, disqualification. Luger defeats Ric Flair, disqualification. November the 3rd, the first show of the night, or first show of the month. The main event, Kurt Hennig versus Lex Luger, disqualification. You lucked out that the Steiner Brothers tag team street fight was the match beforehand. So
you want to get technical, World War III ends in a disqualification.
So every show ends the final match in a DQ, and every show except for one ends with 2 DQs.
And it's all the NWO fucking with them.
How can you? I never understood, how do you build stories?
So the Nitro kicks off the show with the NWO coming out from the back, gloating about the night prior. Hogan saying he'll fight anyone tonight.
God.
The Giant comes out and he wants that match with Hogan
Brian,
one-on-one.
we can see what you're looking at.
What?
We can see what you're looking at.
Is it
It's
Sydney
the Nitro
Sweeney?
Girls.
Oh.
I'm
I know.
looking at the photos from the episode, and
Yeah,
it's nothing
so-
but
yeah,
Nitro
I know.
girls.
JJ Dillon says that the Giant can't fight
I had that poster.
Hogan. Oh my God. Are you done drooling?
Any red-blooded teenager would have had that in their room.
On the ceiling.
Giant has his hurt hand.
I had
He
that
can't
popcorn
fight.
ceiling. I couldn't hang it up there. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
No, I didn't try to eat the popcorn ceiling.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
Are
What
you
was your
sure?
Jericho note?
No, we'll get there.
Okay, go ahead.
The Giant can't fight without a release because he's hurt. WCW doesn't want to be sued.
Shocker.
Faces of Fear stand tall after the surprise loss to Booker T. Deborah gets fired from Alex Wright. He's done with her, doesn't want to be a part. Mongo being interviewed by Mean Gene. Deborah comes out and tries to get back with Mongo, to which Mongo says, "Nada! Ain't happening, lady." Jericho comes out to what I believe is the first time ever the Walls of Jericho music.
Well,
Break the walls down!
it's not.
It's dubbed over.
That's dubbed over.
Either way, it's the whole break the walls down.
It's
The pyro hits and he about shits himself because he wasn't ready for it.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
really wasn't the music.
I'm just saying, it wasn't the music he had been using the entire year I have seen Jericho prior. It was the break the wall for the first time. That was the Jericho note. Anyway, midway through the Hogan Giant match, Rude and Bischoff run the commentary team off. Super Sting comes out and attacks the Giant. And then the rest of the NWO come out and they all attack the Giant. A dummy Sting falls from the ceiling and goes right through the ring, to which they beat it with the bat. The show and the month ends with the NWO standing tall again, still teasing that Brett's joined the NWO. What a boring month. No Bret Hart. Did he have like a 1 month couldn't do things?
No,
Why? Why tease and not deliver?
because why give Bret Hart on Nitro when you can save him for Starcade?
Is that what they're doing?
I don't know.
That's what I got for the month of November. Meh.
Yeah, for December, all I have is In Your House Degeneration X. So if you
Well, I
have
said
Starcade, I'm in trouble.
I have Sting versus Hogan. I'm holding my hope that that's something. Because they've teased it for a fucking year.
anything else would be uncivilized. Oh, that's the Hulk Hogan Speed Guard commercial. Yeah, you lose this month for all your disqualifications. Sorry.
I told you this in the beginning.
So
I said
wait,
literally, go back, rewind 2 hours ago. I said, I'm losing. We
So-
should have just stopped there.
So what you're saying is he loses the month because of that, not because WWE was good.
No, WWE was good in the sense of they're picking up steam. They're building that Austin character, even though we know his neck's bad. The DX is starting to pick up momentum.
They get a lot of momentum.
I think they dropped the ball on people to move up and that Bret Hart spot on Raw or WWF in general. Of course, you have the two mega stars that would be in the middle of your card at the Intercontinental title level at this point, with Austin and Rock now coming head to head for that IC title.
Yep.
You still don't know. You haven't seen The Undertaker since Bad Blood, correct?
Other than on dark matches.
Except for dark matches.
He has no. You see him. He was having a match with somebody, and then Kane came out mid-match.
You did?
Either way, there's no. I don't think you've seen Undertaker since it's been a dark match.
No, I know we have.
Well, let's just say it was forgettable enough that none of us remembered.
Yeah. So like you guys are WWF is building that steam to 1998, which is funny because 98 is probably the hottest year for both shows. But
Why did we do th-
Undertaker versus Kama Mustafa, no contest because Kane comes out.
okay, so that went what, like 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
2.5.
We haven't seen Undertaker, and he hasn't really gotten into the whole Kane thing yet.
What were they waiting for?
What do you mean?
Well, Taker gets taken out by Kane.
You need to remember one thing. At this point in 1997, Kane is only supposed to go from October to March. Kane's character was only created to be somebody to face Undertaker at WrestleMania. It was not supposed to go any farther than WrestleMania.
So
It went 20 plus years.
Good on Glenn to hold on to that for 20 years.
Yeah, Taker and Kane's story it started, but it doesn't get hot until the end of December, beginning of January of 98. So, yeah, right now we're tied. We got 1 month left. I have not watched In Your House DX probably since it aired.
25 years.
And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I did not watch that on a normal television.
Arr.
That was
Arr,
huh?
yar.
No. It wasn't even clear. Like, this is how diehard your boy is. Like, if I was told no to watch a wrestling pay-per-view, I could still turn on that channel and watch it through the scramble. So I remember watching that pay-per-view live through the scramble and listening to the commentators. That's why, like, we talk about it when we're off here, where I can throw wrestling on and just listen to commentators and know what's going on. That's where I got that from. I would watch it through the scramble, and if it cleared up enough to watch a little bit, great. If it didn't, I still listened to the whole match like it was on radio. And I remember specifically watching that pay-per-view through the scramble because you're going to get there, but this is leading to Rock and Austin, and there's a part that's pretty famous where Austin back body drops D'Lo Brown onto the hood of his pickup truck, and that was the one time that the TV screen cleared out, and I saw that spot, and that was the only spot of the whole show I was able to see. Starrcade 97, it's very special to me because it's right down the road from me. I remember trying like hell to get my dad to buy me tickets to go to Starrcade because it was the MCI Center. And it was my favorite feud going on. I think we mentioned this last month, but at this point, I was on the fence with both. I love the NWO. I loved Hollywood Hulk Hogan, but I really, really was a big fan of the start of the Crow Sting. I even went as Sting for my 5th grade trick or treating day in school.
God, you're old.
I painted my
AJ,
face.
he's had us freaking rehash his childhood for him.
I made
As like
my
an
own
excuse to watch it again.
I wore it. I had, this is how much I was on both. I had an NWO black and white T-shirt, and I literally made sure that I had washable red paint to make an X through it. I had a big duster. I wore my hair was kind of really bushy and long, kind of like what Sting's was when he first left. Painted my face up like Sting. I made my own world championship title belt out of paper with a actual belt taped to it. Like, I was in it. Like, I enjoyed this Crow Sting, as it became called, a lot. So going into Starrcade 97, I was ready for Sting to be the world champion. As much of a Hulk Hogan fan as I was, I even at 10 years old knew it was time to get the world title off of Hulk Hogan. So I'm looking forward to the Raws and Nitros leading up to those shows because I don't really remember those. So it's been fun. I can't wait for next month. Next week or next episode of this battle, we will let everybody know where we're going from here.
I have an
We
idea.
AJ came up with a pretty cool idea that I think will be kind of fun. We're gonna get back to the live talking about current day stuff. We're gonna get back to that. Our schedules are really hectic.
About to
I'm
get
no
more
longer
hectic.
allowed at nighttime during the week.
Yep.
I'm not available. The guy to the right lower or lower left of me, he's old and bowls 4 nights a week.
3.
Because he's old. And AJ's AJ with his broadcasting, AJ with his other podcast.
The fuck are
We've
you older
been-
than I am?
We've been stretched out pretty
Language.
thin at this point, which I think at this time last year we were all in the same boat with schedules and we kind of were stretched out. But stick with us. We're gonna get this over with in the next week or so. We're gonna get back to the current day shows with a couple of games and stuff. We're gonna try to hit the games back up again. I like our next concept. AJ brought it up to me. I think it'll be fun for us.
Yeah, don't blow the load.
It'll definitely be fun for me. I don't know how much fun it'll be for these two once I get rolling, but
Because
it
you're
shall
fat,
be
right?
fun.
Rolling.
Listen here, Mr. Clean. I don't want to hear no shit
Da,
from
da,
you.
da, 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 da.
But stay with us. If we
Yeah, Mr. Clean fucking gained about 100 pounds and shrunk.
wow, that was like twist of the knife.
I didn't
We
say
hope to
anything
be
about
back
you,
next
Mr.
weekend.
Snorri McFatfuck.
We
Listen, I've dealt with it for a fucking year of this shit.
we will hopefully be back next Sunday for another episode. Maybe we can wrap this up next Sunday. I don't know. It's up to them to watch their shows. I don't think we're gonna record the weekend after Thanksgiving. There's a lot of things going on there, but then we'll be back.
Unless we
We'll-
recap.
We'll recap Survivor Series, War Games, see what they always talk about the Royal Rumble being the official start to the road to WrestleMania. For me, it's always Survivor Series, so we'll see where that goes from there. We'll talk a little bit of that. We'll talk a little bit of preview for NXT Deadline and what it looks like for Saturday night's main event coming up, which is going to hit me in the feels again because I grew up on Saturday night's main event. These two bozos don't know what that's like. So I'm looking forward to that pay-per-view coming out in December.
Damn it, Ryan.
It's going to be fun. I love that they brought back the old Saturday night main event music for the show. It's going to be fun. So just hang with us, stick with us. We're going to get some more content out. I think what we got coming down the pipe is going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully we just run that all the way to WrestleMania will be pretty fun. So I got nothing else. It's been fun. We got one more episode of this battle series, which I think we're going to come back to that later on. I think we did agree. I think it was said at the beginning of this that whoever won this, your next one is against me. So
Oh my god.
the next battle thing could be fun. It might be the early 2000s. I was kind of thinking of a timeline that could be fun. I'm thinking early 2000s.
SmackDown versus Raw.
Raw versus SmackDown instead of Raw or Monday Night or WWF versus WCW.
We don't want to do Raw versus SmackDown versus ECW.
Hey, that might be an idea, but whoever gets ECW, you're not winning a week, so you might as well get used to that.
Throw December. Throw December. How to throw December.
Anyhow, I'm the guru. That's AJ, and that's Tubby McTJ.
Okay.
Also known as the Tribal T.
No, in his head, he's known as the Tribal T because he doesn't like Ice Tea or Ice Cube or any other cube.
What's the problem with Ice Cube?
Okay, Roly Poly.
Just jealous because I can
Would
keep
you
you two up
drop
and
your
you can't
hands
do the other way.
already so we can
Am I
get out
allowed?
of here?
Yeet! Yeet! Yeet!
Bye, everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Yeet! Yeet!